Carolyn.
Oh, hi, Kevin.
Hi.
I didn't see you there.
Carolyn said it.
Yes.
Thanks for coming along.
Sure. Hey, hi. So you just came from seeing Borderlands 2.
I did. That must explain why I'm speechless.
Yes.
Um,
well,
I-
I was a huge fan of the first game. You had some issues, some very sensible problems with the first game. Didn't quite get into it as much as I did. After what you've seen today, how are you feeling right now about Borderlands 2?
I feel good about it, actually. You know, as you know, it didn't gel with me as much as it did for a lot of other people. I felt like the game was expecting me and my companions to make too much of the fun, and I didn't feel like there was really a world there or an interesting reason to be there in the first place. I don't know how much Borderlands 2 is going to be addressing that, but I did come away feeling really positive. So they're showing here on the on the show floor, they're showing two of the new classes.
So two new classes,
Two
classes
new
that we
classes.
haven't seen before.
Right, and so
Okay.
one is the Commando, and one is the Assassin.
Okay.
And so Axton is the name of the Commando. And so what they did is they paired up press members, and I played with another press member, and we played together. And so I played Axton, who was the Commando, and his special ability is to drop a turret.
Okay. So yeah, that is harkens back to a character's ability in the original Borderlands.
Sure. And so, and there's, like other, Borderlands characters, of course, it has an upgrade tree all of its own.
Sure.
And it looks much more fleshed out than the original Borderlands. It looks like there are a lot of different ways to sort of build your character. I had only a certain number of skill points. Sadly, I spent them in a way that kept me from getting to the point where I could have two turrets at the same time.
Okay.
It's very sad that I spent them that way. So I dealt with what I had. But the way the demo sort of worked is you're in this city environment, and one of the first things that struck me, first of all, of course, it was because it wasn't just all bland brown land, which there was a lot of in Borderlands.
Oh, absolutely.
And this was intriguing because it looked a lot more. There was a lot of places to, sort of go around corners and stay out of the way and flank, and it was a great new environment, number one. Number two, the art design really stands out because, of course, Borderlands was cell-shaded, but it wasn't originally intended to look that way. That change in the art style came further in development. You can see just by looking and playing Borderlands 2 that, it was clearly now built with this art design in mind.
Conceived from the ground up with this look.
And it really fits well together. A lot of times we associate cell shading with these dark, heavy lines, and then basic colors in between, but not a whole lot of texture necessarily. And, I was sort of reminded of the Darkness 2 in that sense, not because the art designs are that similar. They're both cell shaded, of course, but what makes them a little similar is that there's a lot of play with texture between the lines. This isn't just flat color. This isn't just, there seems to be a lot of technique in there to indicate shadow, to indicate texture, and it looks really good.
So that sounds fantastic. Did you find out what the special ability was of the other class that was revealed?
I wasn't paying close enough attention to know what he was doing.
Okay.
Did
you and he kind of work together?
We did our best to work together. Here's sort of how the gameplay came together. The mission that we took on was we go up to a terminal, and then what we need to do is destroy these golden statues that are in this city. And we can't do it on our own. We go up and we start trying to shoot, and we can't damage these things. So what we have to do is we have to go and activate this large robot thing that's going to do it for us. And so what happens is you activate it, and it goes along its predetermined path, and it becomes an escort mission.
Sure, you have to protect it.
Sure, and so we have to protect it. And here's where things got interesting, because, of course, enemies are coming out of the woodwork, and they're all, well, mostly, they're not all, but they're mostly robotic enemies. A lot of pretty heavy things coming out after us, without regard for, they don't care if we're over here. They're going to come where they come, and we had to be on the move. Tom O'Shea would like this. He doesn't like when you just stay in one place and shoot.
Yeah.
So we had to stay on the move. And of course, you have all the great Borderlands loot. So I was trying to keep up with the different kinds of enemies that were coming out and equipping myself in the ways that made the most sense. I had a sort of a sci-fi pistol that looked like it was also poisoning.
Okay.
But that didn't help me with everything because, of course, robots aren't easily poisoned.
Yeah, not so much.
So I would see, the little indicators coming up that they were immune, and it has that great Borderlands, here are the damage numbers that makes you feel so good when you see those just emanating into the air. And so I had a sniper rifle that was also doing some kind of, it looked like some kind of damage over time. It was turning enemies purple. It was great. And interesting too, like it all felt very fluid and natural, just like Borderlands. But something that did stand out to me, and I think this is a good thing, is that there was a lot of play with those weapons. In other words, when I'm zooming in and I'm looking down my sights or whatever, there was a lot of sway. You know, there was a lot of recoil. You really had to pay attention. This was not a, you know, lock on, shoot until it's dead kind of thing. It's
you
not.
have to adjust for the weapon that you're using. You
Absolutely.
have to take that into account and shoot accordingly.
Absolutely, and there was the challenge, because if you're not used to that in shooter, if you're so used to
just line up the reticle and just pull the trigger,
and the auto target will help you out. You can just snap shoot. That not in Borderlands. But not to say that it's unforgiving. More that you really have to pay attention to what you're shooting and how your gun is responding.
That sounds like it's an engaging development. I mean, that you have to really take into account the kind of weapon that you're using.
Yeah.
But it also sounds like Borderlands 2 is poised to scratch the same itches of collecting great loot and doing terrific levels of damage that the original Borderlands scratched so effectively.
Yeah, and lots of great enemy behavior. There were little hovercrafts that were healing the bigger enemies, and it all came together well. It felt fluid. It looked really good. It was a lot of fun. And as a non-Borderlands player, I liked Borderlands. I didn't fall in love with it like a lot of other people. This, I'm super excited about. It seems like it's kind of, day one purchase for me, because I'm really excited to see what they do and whether they can deliver an engaging world.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. And stay tuned to GameSpot for lots more from E3 2012.